Hello there, this is part 4 of the chair tutorial series, and today we're going to attempt making these square details, add them to the chair. And of course you can use bump maps to kind of texture these into the chair, but we're going to attempt modeling them directly, and I'm going to attempt a technique here and see how the results would look. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this back side and just delete I'm just going to use only these faces here, making sure that I don't move all those faces from any of the vertices I've selected, and then select the inverse, delete those faces, and now we can apply the mirror modifier. I can turn off the subdivision for a second, and this is what we have. So let's see, I can even clear rotation if there is any rotation here, but there isn't. Let's see what we can do here. I think, let me see. Just want this to be a bit straight for what I'm going to attempt here, and apply the rotation that way, and then rotate it 90 degrees so that it's facing flat down. And let me make this one of these cubes here, or squares, and see how I'm going to add them onto this. So if I do something like this, a rounded square, so I will just use Ctrl Shift B. You can go to edit mode and select all the edges using A. You want to also make sure that you are in edge select mode and use the shortcut Ctrl Shift B. Now you can use your middle mouse wheel to add more resolution like that. I'm going to go for something like that, and I will insert this for this inside loop, and then insert this again. Maybe push it down, maybe push it up like that, and then maybe add another loop here, push that up using Alt S. I think we have cube 1. I'm going to use both the mirror modifier and the array modifier to duplicate these. So I can delete this side and then add a mirror modifier like that, and add an array modifier as well to the left. Give it some space. This should be above the mirror modifier so that we can actually it should be below the mirror modifier. Then we can worry about this side later, but let's first go with this side. I can reduce this, and maybe I can apply this array. Let me just have this. Let me see how can this work. I can first apply this mirror modifier and then apply the array as well. Now I want to join these two like this. So I'm selecting this edge and this edge using Shift and hitting F to fill them in, and doing the same for this here, basically to have something like that. And then I can use the array. I can now use the mirror modifier, so make sure you delete the faces on this side so that we have something like that. I think you can see we have a shading artifact here. That's because we have this large n-gon, so I'm going to reduce it by joining these vertices here, so that we get better shading. So I can do a cut there, do another cut there, join those faces. Great. Now we can add the array. This time it's going to be in the, let's see, Y direction. And I want to push this just a bit like that. Again, we can select these vertices, extrude them up just a bit. We can have this as 1, and maybe select these faces, extrude them up. We want to get the same spacing we have here, so that's why I'm adding that, and You also want to make sure you have merge turned on, like that. So something like that. This can be above. And we have a few of them, so I'm just going to increase the array count. Maybe we can improve our spacing just a bit, so I'll push these up as well. Maybe this spacing as well. And we need one more for the top there, so for this I would have to apply this array. I would have to apply the mirror modifier and then the array. Then select this middle one, Shift D to duplicate it in the y-axis. Then I'll just join this. Now the problem we are running into is that it doesn't follow the curve of our seat. So what I'm going to attempt here is use this to bend our object here. So if I select this, cursor selected, I want to first center this. Cursor selected. I think I can add I can go to the shape keys of this object. Shape keys. I've not tried this out. I'm just saying. I just have this idea that I think would work here. So let's see how that goes, so that you can see how you can experiment with whatever you're doing. So you can add a shape key here, and then another shape key, and then after you add the second shape key, you can flatten this by scaling it up until it's completely flat like this. But I see when you turn out of edit mode, it will go back to its original shape. So we're going to control this shape using this slider here. So make sure that it's flat, and the value here is set to 1. Now if we get this object and add a simple deform modifier, surface deform modifier, and we select this as the surface, hit bind. Now whatever deformations we add to this, they should also affect our our cubes. So now if we go in to our shape keys, you can see we have this now bending directly to the kind of shrink wrapping to our mesh. So I'm having it deformed completely onto our mesh. So it's kind of being attached to our mesh. So now I can apply that bend modifier. Now then I'll just have to come in and start moving these faces so that they can align with the faces we have. And I think I just need to delete. Let me see, what faces can I remove? I can remove these faces because they're going to be replaced by our cubes. Yes, so what I thought would worked. So and the other thing you want to do is remove the shape keys since we don't need them anymore. They've already done their job, so we can remove these faces, then join this to this, so that is a single object. Now all we are left with is to find a way to merge these onto the rest of the object. So let's see, and since this has symmetry, we just have to delete this side and I use the mirror modifier. So use the mirror modifier so that we work on one area now, on only one side. So I can come in and start looking for areas that I can join. And of course it's going to be a bit messy, and it will require a bit of time, but yeah, that happens when you're trying to go for a high detailed model, so you always have to spend some time on it. So for these edge loops here, I can push them back using G, slide them back a bit. I'm going to have a massive end gun here, but that's okay. I can always come back and clean it up. So let me first add that end gun there and see how I can deal with this. So I can join this directly to this to reduce on the size of that end gun. And now we have these extra loops. I think that may not be necessary, so I'll just go in and start reducing some of those loops. I think this can be joined directly to this. Now this can be merged to that, like that. I mean, add a loop here, so I can join to that. I can join that to that, then these to that, these to that, then slide this just a bit. So what we're left with here is just cleaning up the mesh just a bit. So I think I can slide this. Let's see how this looks with subdivisions. Not great, not perfect, but again, can fix a few of that. See, this shading here is caused by this large end gun, so you need to reduce that as well. So I can select this, connect this to this, and I think if I push this vertex to that and this, connect this directly to this here, then I might not need that edge or that loop. So we definitely need to do a lot of cleaning here. You can see the more you clean the model, the better this starts looking, and you can see we're getting that. Now all we are left with is to align this back to this position. So I'm just going to select this, Shift S, cursor to selected, and then this Shift S, selection to cursor, and all we are left with now is to rotate this back into place. So I'm just going to zoom in, expand this using control space so that I can align this correctly. And what I'm going to do for now is first turn off subdivisions for both of these meshes so that I can align them easily, maybe even isolate them for a second. Zoom in. Go to front view, see what needs to be aligned. Now you can see, can really zoom in to make sure that you have everything aligned on top of each other, and I think that's well aligned. And now what I have to do is go into this and delete the faces we don't need, so that we already have in this. So I think I can select, let me see, I think I can select this. Up to here. Delete those faces. Let's see, we have that. And if you have this aligned correctly, you can just join them and then go to edit mode, select everything, merge by distance, and I should see that you have removed some of the vertices, and yeah, everything should be good, except we are going to have issues. Remember, as we are adding, I added some vertices, so you can see that some of these vertices are not connected. That's because we added them as extra vertices where they shouldn't be. So just need to connect that. Maybe also we might need to fix that. So I don't need this edge loop, so I'll just go on and remove it. And let me see what's going on here. Okay, this is correctly connected. This can be connected to that. Then we won't need this edge loop. Okay, you can see that these edge loops go through all the way. That's what we need for now. Let's see. I think that looks not bad. We still have a few shading issues here. This vertex here, this edge loop here doesn't know where to go because it doesn't have a connecting edge loop here. So I think what you can do, I can just get this loop here to connect with it. So I think I need to first delete that vertex. See, connect that like that. Now this should be a complete loop that goes around like that. But I can push these just a bit. You can see it improves as we work on it. So yeah, I think I'll continue cleaning it up just a bit, and maybe we can continue with working on other parts. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you in part 2 or 3 or whatever it would be, and just continue fixing these. I think this can just be connected directly to this, so that we eliminate this loop we don't need. And same with this. Any loops that are connecting directly in the middle, I'm just going to remove them like so. Anything like this, I'm just going to cut it out. See, I think it looks much better. Yeah, so this doesn't need to be there, this loop, this either, and yeah, this as well. And when we add materials, it will look even much better. We can do the same for this area here, but because of this fold here, we can't just flatten this area like we did here. So I'll find a different way to approach that part. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next tutorial.